Hi everyone, welcome back. We got a few parts coming in, and most importantly, we got the important stuff in to put the engine, transmission, clutch, and entire driveline into the old car. If you're new to the channel or if you're coming back as a returning viewer, thank you guys again greatly. I appreciate it so very much. I'm looking down a lot because, well, I'm currently walking on ice and scrap metal and whatever else washed into this area, like this block. That's ice to the floor. There it goes. The only time of the year when my shop floods for any reason is the winter and spring. And it's all, look at this, all the way up to this door. Yep, there's fresh water right there. That's great. I probably can't open the door because it's frozen shut. Oh, what I wouldn't give to build a new shop. At any rate, I've gotten parts in. Like I said, I'm slowly starting to get parts in. At the end of the last episode, we got this, which is really going to help, but I needed the other part of that equation, which are these pressure plate bolts. I don't know what grade they are, but they're heavy duty. They look like they're 8 plus. Yeah. So I got these with the washers. We can start digging out the clutch, pressure plate, flywheel, which is all right here. I have to run a heavier flywheel because I guess that's the rule. So we got all that set up there. I got a water pump. I think I got the plug for it. I also got a few other things over here, which are all these pulleys. I went and raided the other shop. I found one of my old alternators, which I honestly don't know if it'll work or not because somebody has cut the backside out of it. If not, we'll just use the pulley off of it. I got oh, there's the plug for that water pump. I got a crank pulley. It says good, and that might be my handwriting. It's got a bunch of different options. I got another crank pulley here that actually has this little spacer that's been machined. We might be able to use that if we could. I don't know if this alternator pulley will work on anything more than a stock one. I got this water pump pulley that has a bunch of different options as well. I got mounts for the alternator on the way. I might have, don't quote me on this, I don't know if it's down here. There it is. I might have a block mount, might be, I'm not sure. But I do know, oh yeah, someone cut the backside of this one too for whatever reason. Hopefully that doesn't come back to bite us. For the water pump, which is power steering pump, I'm sorry. I just gotta figure out a way to make that work, and we could probably bolt that up to the engine as well without having to pay 50 bucks for a mount. So hopefully that works too. So I'm gonna wait for this place to warm up a bit. As you can hear the thing blowing hard in the background here. And we're gonna start digging some stuff out. I'm gonna try to wheel the motor out. I need the engine hoist to get that off, but the engine hoist is probably frozen to the ground outside. That's gonna be a complete nightmare to get out, so there's a lot of work ahead of us. So I got the motor dragged over here. I'm probably gonna change that balancer out because, well, it's pretty big and heavy. I only put it on there as a backup. It's only an 8-inch. I don't have a pointer for it. I think we're allowed down to like 6 3/4 inch for these motors. It's $100. I'll get one, throw it on. I'm glad the push rod's still in for the fuel pump. I got all the spark plugs still in it. I don't know if I even winterized it. I know the water's not in it, but that's about it. I found this blocker head mount, I should say, power steering one that I showed you, and it was cut out in the back. Well, I figured out if I threw 3 washers in it, it would be perfect. So there, that saved me 60 bucks just for a mount. Found some bolts. I'm currently kind of sizing this, and I gotta find bolts for it because this one's a fine thread, and I gotta find, there's like a square nut in the back so that you can adjust it, like it recesses into the back side here. So I gotta find a bunch of hardware and stuff. And I mocked up the water pump just to see how that would do. Basically, I'm just in mock-up phase to see where everything's gonna lay. Not sure, I don't have the mount for the alternator yet, so we're waiting on that, but at least I can get a head start on this. I don't know, guys. I don't know if this is really coming out the way I want it to, because this is just not lining up the way I want. I mean, this pulley here and this pulley here on the outside line up, right? But the only way this power steering pulley lines up is with this one here, which lines up to the really tiny one on the backside. So that's kind of really underdriven. I don't think it would be a huge issue, but I'm not sure. So they line up. Like, these line up here, these line up here, and down there. The only thing that's really kind of throwing me off right now is, where does the alternator lie? And I know everybody's out there going, oh, why you run an alternator? And the answer to that is very simple. Life experience. Been racing for 25 years. I've tried racing with no battery. Didn't like it. A GM HEI alternator runs better at 14.5 volts or 11 volts. That's easy enough. Plus, I've had a minimum of 2 batteries drop cells during the race. The only reason I kept racing, I had an alternator. The alternator powered the electrical system and allowed me to stay on the racetrack. When I shut the car off and I hit the restart button, nothing happened. Why? Because the battery was dead. Dropped a cell. Vibration and impact does really bad things to the car batteries. That's why I do that. It's all experience based. Oh, but it takes like 4 to 7 horsepower to drive it. Yeah, but I don't drop out of races because of dead batteries or alternators failing. If an alternator fails, the battery's fully charged. And if you drop an alternator and a battery, it wasn't your night. So that's why I do that. And plus, I don't feel like having to remember to hook a car charger up, or battery charger or whatever, and run a generator and all. I shut the car off, it's charged. Alternator works. I'm fine with it. So there's a couple fail safes in that built in. Now, I'm only waiting on the alternator mount. All this stuff is not really set in place. Like, I do need to change probably the balancer so that I can go grab my timing pointer that actually is set for this engine, and set the water pump on. But I figured now would be the best time while it's out of the car and I got an opportunity to mock it up. So that's, I think, going okay. I gotta show you this though. I grabbed the snake of belts from the other shop. All of them. There are belts here from... That stayed shut. That's good. Every damn year we raced, I swear to God, there's a belt for it. So I might even take these over here and stick them on somewhere and just kind of eyeball what the hell size I might need, and then get a good number and figure out how long they're supposed to be. I think the part numbers are like, the last 3 digits are how long it is or something like that. Or at least pretty close to that. It's like a 38 and a half, 33 and a half, 43 and a half, 26. You know, I think that's how it is. Don't quote me on that. I might be way off. I use serpentine belts for my other car, and they don't fall apart, hopefully. At least I have spares. But yeah, this is coming together. Hopefully I can actually figure something out, and we can get something going pretty soon. Not a single one. Not one. Hopefully I have a little bit better luck when it comes to the alternator, but I think what I'm going to have to do is just run a tape measure around it and see what it says. So I got my 10-foot Stanley Powerlock, very thin tape measure. I don't really know if this is the best way to do it, but this is the way I'm going to do it. Just set this thing right up like that. That says, oh, get that as loose as possible, loose as possible. That says exactly 38 inches. I swore I had a 38 belt down here. Actually, no, I think I 47, 36, 36. Yeah, the 36s were like right around here. So I'll go to Tractor Supply or Napa or whatever and see if I can't scrounge up a 38-inch belt while I wait for this to come in. Hopefully, like I said, fingers crossed, the alternator will be one of the belts that I can find here, or else we're going back to the hardware store or whatever has V-belts around here nowadays. As I don't have a heck of a lot of adjustability on that pulley, I really got to make sure that I get it as low as humanly possible so that when I go to tense it up, any little bit of movement on that thing will be enough, because it's the way that it mounts, the bolts are a little bit in the way of the housing of the power steering pump. So I figure get it as close as possible to zero, work it on, and then if you got to tense it up a little bit, throw it on. So I think we can make that setup work. It's just a matter of integrating the alternator. And like I said about 15 times, we're just waiting on that. So we'll probably just run it the way it is. I don't know. And we'll see how that works. I am still technically at this moment waiting on parts, but we're very early in the week, and tonight is podcast night. I'm going back to doing that weekly. I host 2 podcasts, if nobody knows. I kept those separate for some reason, but if you want to listen, feel free. I host a opinion-based racing show that's mostly localized to the Connecticut region called the Making Laps podcast. And then I think you all have heard about the other one that I do in the off season that's called Race Cars and Jail Bars, where my brother and I go and talk about true crime and motorsports. That one's a lot of fun. The other one's a lot of fun too, but it's a lot of just opinion-based talking with me and my friends and brother and stuff like that. So I'm going to go prepare for that tonight, and we'll see what we can do tomorrow. It's the next day, and I'm already pissed off. Explanation incoming. There's my engine jack laying down on the ground because, well, I got to get this engine off this stand so that I can start assembling it and put it in the car. Duh. But what happened was, since, I live in the tundra and everything is ice, including half of my garage, well, this thing got frozen to the ground. Typically not a problem. However, it is a problem when you try to pry it out of the ground and it breaks the casters off. 2 of them on one side. So now I have 2 casters frozen into the ground with ball bearings all over the place. So now I have to play with that, because luckily one of them stayed intact that's on the middle. The long-legged ones were in the air, so they're not really a problem. The only one I really need to do is I'm going to take that one there and put it here so that at least I have one on each corner when I put the legs down, and I'll be able to move it around, hopefully, if I didn't damage that one as well. That one seems to work. That one is okay. These 2 are quitters. So, more work to do. Ever closer to this thing going in the car, and I keep looking at stuff and figuring out, okay, I gotta buy this, oh, now I gotta buy that, oh, now I gotta put this on order, and I just see the number just increasing in my get back number of, if I sell the car, how much money I'll be getting back from this decreasing. I'm probably still in the red even if I sell the thing. I got a little welding to do. Here's my bell housing. This one's stripped out. So I got a nut just kind of bolted into place, and I'll just weld that nut in so that I got at least something to grab onto. I don't think it's anywhere even close to in the way of anything. So that'll just take care of that without any sort of issue, because this one's weird. My SFI bell housing that's in the new car has like individual things welded to the back. This has like a plate that's threaded that's welded to it, and if the plate strips, what are you supposed to do? So I got to fix that. Either way, this thing is almost ready to go in. As soon as I get the plate with that nut welded on that, I can slide that on. Then I can throw in the transmission that's sitting over there with that hydraulic throwout bearing. I might as well do all that and fit that while it's outside the car, because that would make life 10 times easier. Have that fitted, have the hose just kind of dangling out, and we can then finally wrestle this thing over there, because I'm not opening that damn door. I got to get those boxes out of the way, because that's the only escape door that I have right now, and it's kind of blocked. But we can finally wrestle this in the car. Drive shaft can go in. I did get the straps for the rear end. Hopefully they fit. I got my new fuel line as well that I can finish that. So things are starting to roll back into place here. And yes, I did break out the industrial size bottle of Loctite 271 Red. I absolutely will not give away where I got this from, because that is a family secret. Engine is in, transmission is in and needs oil. Drive shaft is not really in, because I didn't get the right U-joint. But I had one that fits, not the U-joint, but the drive shaft. Apparently I set this engine back a hair, so a stock drive shaft does not fit, which I don't know where I put it. It's probably on the floor over there somewhere, but now I got even more shopping to do. So now, not only do I have to order fuel cell foam, something I forgot, an S44 to 1310 conversion U-joint. What else? I don't know. We'll figure it out, but I got to get online. Oh, that's what I needed. A smaller harmonic dampener so that I can take advantage of, well, the rule book. And I can take it, not have to buy a new timing pointer, because that's what this engine was set up for. So I can put my timing pointer back in. I can put a 6 3/4 balancer back on. So I need that, and I need that. I'll take a look around and see what else I need to waste money on. But we'll be back tomorrow to see what else we can do for the remainder of this video. All right, next day. I have made an executive decision based upon time and circumstance. These brand new headers that I have that I was going to put in my new car, well, they're going in this one. Why? There's not going to be any difference in horsepower or performance. So why bother? I got an exceptional deal on them at Jegs. They gave me like 30 or 40 bucks off. So all I have to do now is just grab the old buzzer sander tool there on the back with the little abrasive bit that's not going to sand it. I forget what the hell that thing's called. Clean up all the edges. I'll do the water pump and the fuel pump while I'm at it, because I live by having RTV on the car. It's a gasket. I made another big parts order. We should have some stuff coming in soon, but for now, I'm gonna go dig out a few things. Like, I think for this chassis, with these motor mounts and this type of engine in it, if you put headers on the car, it kind of runs into the X member right here. So I got a flex pipe that goes up and under that. If I had to make hard pipe, it would be a real pain because I'd have to make it snake, and I don't have a pipe bender for exhaust. So it's like, usually the tech guys take a look at that and they're like, okay, fine, you know, we'll let you go with that. So I'll go put that in. I'm gonna have to make another pipe for the left side, but I have the mufflers and the other pipes and other mounts. I have like 3/4 of the exhaust system already. So we're gonna do that, and we're gonna just keep going. I have to weld up a pipe. I have to do a couple of things. So let's get started on something, anything at this point. So a thought occurred. You'll notice that this header isn't in the car. Well, that's because I forgot that there's no starter in it either. So it's going to be kind of difficult if I put the headers in and start mocking exhaust pipes up. Then I'd have to take it all back apart again to do the starter, because that sure ain't going to go in with headers. So that's a real pain. Either way, I can put the shifter in. I can fix the clutch hydraulics. I could probably mock it up if we really run out of things to do. Clearly, I could just not put the gasket material on and just take it off. So here's my super deluxo shiny twin stick shifter kit that I got, because these cars typically, if you're shifting them, you're only doing second to high, or if you have a 4-speed, which nobody runs, third to high. Or if you're in the boat that I'm in and you got to run a specific gear for Thompson, second, and that's it. So I got a couple of little shifter levers here. I got a couple of these. I got some bolts that actually might work. And what's funny in this car is I actually left the old shifter setup kind of in place. I got 1/4 bolts bolted through the floor, and they're just kind of stationary. Then you just kind of drop the shifter down on it and then bolt it to what's already available. There you go, shifter's installed. All I know is that I'm gonna get under there, start figuring out where these things go, and hopefully we'll have us a nice shifter. Well, even if it's just shiny. I almost forgot, if you got these kinds of tubes, I haven't even unboxed them yet or unbagged them, but you got these rod ends in them and you need to shorten them up at all. You can do that yourself. Just make sure that you're shortening the side with right-hand threads, not the left-hand threads. And then just go to your cheap tap set like I got over on the wall and just tap new threads using the same size chaser as the one that's on the rod end, and you can pretty much make your own length if you goof up and buy too long, which I guarantee I did. Dang, that actually looks pretty good. In a very strange way, because shiny stuff scares me. And as long as nobody looks at the butchery that I've created, it's mint. Now, the only thing I had to do, because I didn't feel like bending the rods to get that thing to fit properly, was, well, number one, clearly I, welded things together to make it work, which is janky at best. But two, I made reverse and first backwards. See, on these 3 speeds, it's typically, you got reverse up top, right? Then you got first down here. Then you go up and you got second, and you got third. Well, now it's reverse down here, first is up here, and then you go over in second. Honestly, I'm just going to take a piece of duct tape and just kind of write out the pattern because this is what I do with my old 4-speed. But you stick it on your steering wheel or your dashboard or whatever, and you just mark where the shift pattern is. 2-3 is all I need, because that's in the correct spot. Reverse first, that's just to move you around and get you going. You're going to switch sticks anyway, because you got to go, reverse the back out of your pit, take it, put it in first. You're going to knock it in neutral and then put it in whatever gear is on the other side. So it's a little different than an H pattern, but it works just fine. And it's a little less complicated than, well, installation-wise. So whatever, shifter is in. That's pretty cool. I really want to see how this thing feels, what it's going to be like, how the controls feel. You're about to watch a very sad moment, because I am actually, you know what? I don't think I'm fatter than the last time I got in this car. I might actually be down a couple pounds. No promises, but I am wearing a lot more clothes than I would be if I actually was driving this, so let's just kind of see how this goes. This is my old car, it's my old seat. Yeah, it's a little thicker because I got this big insulated jumpsuit on. Wow. That steering wheel's way off. How did I allow this before? I think we're going to have to make some changes to this steering wheel, guys. Wow, I got to bleed the brakes real bad. The rears haven't been touched yet. Wow. That actually feels really good. And yeah, I really got to move the steering. That's just way off. But wow, you can actually read the gauges. This seat, man, I'll be honest with you. It's about a ½ inch narrower than my other seat. If I was wearing a fire suit, it'd fit just fine. It's so different than my new car, but it still feels like home. I need a pad for this door. Damn it. More stuff I gotta buy. That's pretty awesome, though. I can't believe how far off to the right the steering wheel was in this car. That's crazy. Then again, that's weird. Okay, you know what? How did I live with that before? Still easy to get out of. Ow! Oh! Zip tie. I didn't flush cut that one. Okay, so I got a little bit of progress done today, which is good, but I got to cut today a little bit short. I got some plans. I got to go take care of a few things, but I'm going to be out here pretty much all day tomorrow. And hopefully, fingers crossed, we can get a whole bunch more stuff done. So I'll see you tomorrow. Next day, today's my day off, so I got a lot more time to tinker on this thing. I got some parts in, a couple of items that are very necessary to keep moving forward on this thing. I got my starter, I got the brake fluid, which really helps, and I got the mount for the alternator so that we can start working on the front drive stuff. I have the I have the harmonic balancer on order. I got the fuel cell foam on order. We're making progress. So we're at the point right now where I can start really moving forward, especially with the exhaust, because that just has to be done. So let's just stop talking, get working, because we got a lot to do. So I got this. It just says starter. That's always a good sign, right? And I got it from a website that I think a lot of people would really kind of eyeball me, kind of crooked, if they knew what it was. Here it is. Oh, it's from Temu. Okay, fine. You got it out of me. It's from Temu. It's labeled as a small block Chevy high torque starter. And with the fact that literally everything that we buy nowadays is made in China, what's the difference of this? Or if I buy like a Power Master with black paint and stickers on it, that's the same thing. So if this works, it works. If it don't, then we know for the future. And I know what you're saying. Oh, you're going to regret that purchase, or you're going to regret that decision. I know. Here's the thing. If it was a very important product, like, I don't know, a ball joint, suspension pieces, the motor, rear end parts, a transmission, yeah, I'd say, okay, I probably wouldn't buy that. It's an electric motor. If it doesn't start the car, you can push start it. And like I said, they're all made in China anyway. So what's the difference? And I kind of like this one actually because it doesn't have that stupid screw for the starter solenoid. It's got a spade connector, which I kind of like because what I do is I used to run the starter wire here and get rid of that solenoid, but I've started going back to these solenoids because, well, I can actually do wiring a lot easier, and I can just spade connector, ring terminal, a jumper wire here, run one cable to the starter and be done with wiring. So that makes my life a lot easier. Gonna have to change the geometry in the front end. I don't even know what it is anyway, to be fair. I just kind of slapped it in. But we got the header in, and I'm looking down there, and I'm like, if I want to build a solid pipe instead of using flex tubing, I'm gonna be in trouble because that thing is right in the middle of that cross member piece, which, to be fair, this car was built before we had headers. That car out there, the brand new one, was built after we had headers. So that isn't an issue because the X member is brought up in the front so that these can clear. Either way, I might have to just break out the old one. But I have another problem, and it's this. The alternator bracket that I bought says it's for Denso mini alternators. Okay, guess what? I got some. This is one. I got a second one down there. It looks exactly the same as that one. Both of these will fit my new car. Is this bracket the right one? Of course not. Because apparently there's two kinds of Denso mini alternators. You got this one, and you have the GM style, which is completely useless to me because I don't have those. So apparently there's that. So now I rage bought a GM mini alternator. So that'll be in whenever that shows up. So the front drive, we're going to have to wait on. But like I said, there's plenty to do. So I can at least get some of that on. I can get the power steering, water pump. That has to come off. We could even start mocking up a radiator if we wanted to. But I don't even know if this front assembly is going to be here because that was made for the body. And there's a completely different body going on this car. But we can also do the exhaust because that still needs to be done. There's still a lot to do, frankly. But we still have plenty to do. I'm still indecisive on the exhaust. We got to figure that out. I'm going to go open a few boxes up and see what I got for parts and see how feasible it is to actually just make a new one. I don't know if I want to go out the door with it again or if I want to cut those mounts off. Things like that. I mean, it would be super easy for me to just run the exhaust straight back and run them down to the ground. It'd probably be quieter. It's all stuff I got to figure out. I could also go another direction, but whatever I decide on doing next, we're going to just go to time lapse and figure it out. Well, I found my giant box of exhaust angles and pipes, and I also found where the mice were living, and it reeks of mouse pee, and it looks like they were getting in there. It looks like the bucket wasn't completely sealed. I'm glad I poisoned them, to be completely frank with you. I have a ton of angles, and pipes, and U-turns, and bends, and hantavirus. Brake clean. I also have a giant box full of it right there. So, I'm going to get the vacuum out probably and suck all this stuff up. And, yeah, disgusting. Maybe we'll get some, I guess, at least that box has straight pipes in it. So, we got a lot to work with. And if I make mistakes, I still have even more to work with because I have more bends in that box. Great. So, yeah, we'll figure it out. We're going to be cutting and welding and bending and, well, we can't bend, but making bends, I guess, out of nothing. So we'll keep trying. Got another box in. I think that's number 4 today. I've made an executive decision again. I think we're just going to run them straight back like we did on the Stafford car. I'm going to cut these mounts off with the old long reach because there's some on the corner here. While I got it out, I got to get rid of that caster I've completely neglected to get rid of before. And we're just going to run pipe back straight from there all the way back. And I mean, we're just going to be done with it. It's easier than trying to figure out angles. It's a lot quicker. I'm just going to throw it in there. I got plenty of pipe. I got all this stuff. Yeah, I got all these angles and everything, but I don't need them for anything now because, well, what am I going to do with them? I don't know. Could we be fancy and run them down the back and then do right angles out? Do I want to? Not really. So I'd rather just go grab a couple turn downs off the shelf, chuck the pipes straight in, hook them into the X member, and whatever I can do with the floor over there. Maybe I'll weld one of these hook and strap little hangers onto that and just use that as a mount. Just kind of get it over with. That's all that matters. I just need this thing done. The other line of thinking of that is because this car with the open motor, which Thompson still allows and open street stock still allow up here. If I run the pipes out the side with the mufflers that I have that are allowed, this is the loudest race car on earth. And I've drawn attention to myself the last couple times I've raced at Thompson because it's incredibly loud. And I don't have another set of mufflers for it, so if I run them under the car, maybe it'll quiet it down a little bit. Maybe we'll take a little bit of a suspicion away from it. And maybe I won't have to actually change anything. So there's that too. As the exhaust is going to be a straight shot, not only from here, but from there as well, I was wondering if I should just use the other piece of flex pipe that I have and just kind of run that off of the header. Because if you run these headers completely straight off each other, I think what they do is they just go, like they kind of slope downwards all the way towards the back of the car. Oh, there's another caster I got to cut off. And my other car, I had to cut notches in the pipe and bend the pipe back up and weld it back around just to get the pipe to fit properly. I mean, we'll see, but maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. I'm kind of looking at the angle and it might not. I'm just going to grab some pieces and just start chucking them in here and see what it looks like. I got the big pipes out. We're going to be running them down the length of the car. I got a spare little end right there that I have to add on to this one in order for it to work, but it's going to be okay. The other side I'm going to have to cut a little bit off because that flex pipe comes out a little bit longer, and it actually will fit just one piece. So this I don't want to have to do, but I do because this car is the product of a bygone era, apparently. I have to break the hammer out. I've drawn where the X member comes across, and we unfortunately are going to have to crush this thing in order to get it to fit. I remember having to do this last time. A lot of loud noises, a lot of being deaf, unless I wear my hearing protection, which, oh, there it is. It's over there. We're going to have to really crush this thing down. Luckily, what I do is I actually kind of flatten it out and make it wider instead of just denting it in so that it'll actually not impede airflow. It won't really hurt anything horsepower-wise if you do that. If you pancake it, then you got a problem. But if we oval shape it a little bit, we'll be all right. Sometimes you gotta just turn the cameras off and get to work because you're just not getting anything done, and that's exactly what I did. So I've got this left side exhaust pipe expanded, right, welded, mounted, and as far up to the bottom of the car as humanly possible, and I got it dumping down here right in front of the rear axle. But this is at full droop, so this axle is going to pull away from that anyway. I might have to put a piece of wood or plywood underneath the battery just to keep it from heat soaking, but that's okay. And whoever ends up driving this car, if it's me or somebody else, when I sell it, they're going to have a nice toasty rear, I guess, when they're sitting in that seat. But that's pretty much how these cars work anyway. We're going to be just kind of copy-paste on the other side. I'm still looking for a few little parts. Like I lost the bottom strap to my exhaust clamp, and I was gonna weld those to the bottom of the chassis and just kind of bolt the exhaust pipe straight to the car. That is really secure because it essentially is like it's being welded to the car, but can't find it. I don't know what happened to it. So I'm gonna go search for that. I think my kid's getting off the bus now, so I'm gonna go see him real quick and get him situated, and then get this left side figured out. Or no, the right side figured out. Exhaust is done. I'm calling it. Look at that, huh? Don't look at that so much, but look at that, huh? Comes out about the same place. I got her hooked in with stainless steel hose clamps on two ends. There, that's good enough, right? Now I'm gonna find my other piece when I possibly get a moment. But exhaust technically is done. Now since that's done, we're gonna move on to something else. Whatever I grab first is what I'm gonna be working on. And I figure we could start working on some of the engine stuff. Like we got the welder out and I've been welding, so we might as well throw the carburetor on and the throttle link and figure out, because I'm pretty sure that I'm gonna have to cut the throttle pedal and reposition where it is and then weld it back up. I'm gonna stick a magnet to it first, make sure it's actually magnetic, because apparently some of that isn't. Like the little plate and sleeve, I guess it goes through to mount it, that was aluminum, but the pedal itself is metal. They painted it, so how would I know? So that's why I had to bolt it in. But we gotta adjust that so that the foot is actually level instead of it being like this off the ground and like this is wide open throttle instead of this. I don't know. We'll figure that out. We gotta reposition that and tack that back on. But yeah, we're making some serious progress. I really want this car running and moving in the next 2 weeks. That way, at least all of the controls and everything functions so that we can start moving on with body, because we need to get this thing the heck out of here. And if it moves on its own, that would be perfect. Sometimes just kind of be glad that I don't put everything to time-lapse or video, because this thing took me an hour to try to find all the bolts necessary to put not only the carburetor, but the gaskets and the lower, well, spacer on, which I do have the correct spacer if we want to run an open motor at like Thompson or open races around New England. So that's good. It only took me forever. The engine hoist is kind of still in my way because, well, I don't have any more casters left, and if I leave it outside, it's going to freeze to the ground again, and it's going to be directly behind my trailer, which would be a very bad thing. So we're just going to leave it in here for now until I figure it out. I needed 2 bolts for this bowl, and I actually found them in the trailer, which is cool. I need an outlet here. I have one that I was thinking about maybe just dumping in there. Who knows if I want to make that happen or if it works. Either way, carburetor's on. We can start moving forward with the throttle assembly. So, all right, let's just keep moving forward. So in order for us to actively control the vehicle, we need to have the throttle pedal set into a place where we can use it. Right now, that rod is bottomed out on the firewall. And the pedal is pretty much where I want it. Now, where I want it is actually to start. I want the bottom, because this is a tow hook kind of throttle, so if the thing sticks, you can pick your foot up and kind of lever it to see if it'll unstick. I want it to be about level with the brake pedal. What is this? Sandpaper, huh? But have that be about level with the brake pedal, and then when it goes down towards the firewall when you want full throttle. So in order for us to fix that, what I'm going to do is I'll probably grab a small C-clamp and come in through here. C-clamp the back of that plate right there. And I will take the stem of the C-clamp and hold the pedal pretty much where I want it. Then what I'll do is I'll come over here and I will take a cutting wheel and I will hack off right here on where this kind of shoulder is. Cut it flush right there. Then I'll buff it all off, make sure that it's clean to weld on. Rotate it to about, instead of there, I need it like here, you know, a little bit further ahead, so that when I have throttle throw, it will have enough room to move back. This throttle stick that I got, clearly from a specific place, is far too long for what I need, but I've told you about the trick where you can take these, cut the right-handed thread end, and just tap a new thread into the whole thing so that you can use it at whatever size. So right here, it's about full throttle, but we're at no throttle. So we're gonna have to cut that down a whole bunch, but we're gonna do that dependent upon where that ends up. So we need to get this thing set up, cut, buffed, welded, and shoved back together so that we have a throttle. So guess who just got thrown for a loop here? I did. Because these tubes, like a swedge tube or whatever you want to call it, are typically a hole all the way through. Nope, sure ain't. So now guess who's just made their own bed? Guess what I have to do? I have to try to drill a hole now straight into this, then tap it, and hope for the best. I'm going to take a drill bit and see what slides into there, because it's not a quarter. The thread output, or the outside of the threads, would be a quarter. So what we're going to do is we're going to figure out what size goes in there, try to drill into here deep enough that it will in fact stay I tried to get that in the middle as best I could. Probably failed, but whatever. And then we can tap it and hope for the best. I got one more thing to do, and that's probably going to be just making sure that the jam nuts are tight. But this is pretty much where it should be. If we activate the pedal, you can see it moves and nothing hits. That's all the way. That's tight. That just needs to be tightened. That just needs to be tightened. Shoot, I could even adjust this down a hair if I wanted to. But that is in. At this very moment, we have the engine in, transmission in, clutches set up, drive shaft, we got a U-joint coming, rear suspension, front suspension, steering, braking, throttle, and we're like one fitting and bleed process away from the clutch. So before I leave the shop tonight, I want the brakes bled because the fluid came in today, and I want the clutch assembly finished so that we can have this thing essentially minus wiring fully capable of controlling tonight from the seat. You can tell we're working because this place is blown out right now, but we are making tremendous progress because the driver controls all work. Clutch, that was a real pain, but I got her. She's bled, not leaking at this moment. Everything's tight. Brakes, I'm gonna do one last tight check, make sure nothing's leaking. But the pedal, when you step on it, because I got it in the car, when you step on it, it doesn't slowly go down. So it holds pressure, so that gives me hope. I see nothing leaking in the inside of the car. I don't hear any leaks outside. Steering works. Throttle works. Brakes work. Clutch works. Front suspension on. Rear suspension on. Engine, exhaust, driveline, everything, well, except for the drive shaft. Of course, we need that U-joint, but carburetor's on. We're still waiting for a couple pieces up front here, but we're so close. You know, it's it's kind of amazing. I didn't think that this thing would ever go back together again. I thought it would just be kind of a cage just sitting in my yard, rotting away, doing nothing. And now it's like we're a little bit of wiring, a little bit of plumbing, because I do have to remake that fuel line, but I do have it. Some fuel cell foam. I mean, we could almost start this car in the next couple days. Like, I'm not kidding. Like, this thing is almost ready. Like, I still got to get my alternator so I can get belts, but I'm so close. Like, this thing is just coming together, and it kind of makes me feel good. You know, it makes me feel like this car could possibly bring somebody joy again, you know, because it did a lot for me, and to see it just languish in the yard would just be sad, and I couldn't have that. And you know, it's got really good parts in it. This motor honks at Thompson. The transmission, well, I built it, so it better work. Rear end, I built it, it better work. Exhaust is new, the brakes are new, the suspension's new. Like, it's almost like I built a second brand new car. It's kind of crazy, but I think this is going to be the stopping point for tonight. I'm going to go inside and see the family. I've been out here all day. It's getting on pretty late, and I got to clean up and get inside and go relax for a minute for once, you know. And I'll be back out here tomorrow. Hopefully some more parts show up. If not, we're going to start wiring because that needs to get done too. We're going to keep plumbing because we got to get that line done. Just keep moving forward. That's all. Like I said, within the next couple videos, like 2 videos, I want this thing done and with a body on it, or at least closely done, because this thing needs to be functional enough to get the hell out of here. So we will see you tomorrow. Next day, kind of looking at the car, just trying to decide what to do next, almost like I have like mechanic's writer's block or something. I don't know what that is, but you're gonna run into that problem too. It is what it is. Everybody runs into it. So what you do to get around that is, well, look at it. Is it done yet? Nope. Is something that you touch on this car gonna finish it? Yeah. So just pick the first thing in front of you and just start working. I think I'm just gonna get started on the electrical. That stuff needs to get done. I need to finish the wiring. I need to finish the gauges. I need to go in there and just make it work. You know, that needs to get done. So I'm just going to dive in head first, probably do that. Maybe if I get froggy enough, dive under and finish some welding. I don't know yet. I left the welder over here. So like I said, if you get stuck, you know it ain't done. So just pick something and do it. It's right in front of you anyway. Like I said, there's no real format to doing this work. I needed to straighten out the steering wheel, get that nice and centered up. I don't know how I lived with that for so many years. Maybe because I had a 15-inch wheel and I just downsized to a 13 because I changed the box in this car, so I wanted to kind of slow it down or speed it up a little bit. I'm going to get to welding underneath the car because I forgot there's a bar I got to do. Since I'm in a welding mood, then maybe we can move on to wiring and reattaching some of the gauges and putting stuff back together. Aside from looming, which I have to do after I add my fan wire because I haven't quite done that yet. That should be fairly easy, but I'm waiting to put the radiator in with the fan so that we know where it goes. The wiring is really looking good. Check this out, guys. Hit the master switch. All right. Let's see if the tack does anything. It did a second ago, but oh, I think I cleared that. All right, so it was working. If I hit the ignition switch with this big one right here, 12.5 volts go to the end of that wire, so that's good. But you want to hear the coup de grace? Watch this. The starter works. That's pretty sweet, isn't it? I don't want to turn it over too much because I don't have a distributor in it. And therefore, I know there's oil in it, but I don't have a way of pumping oil. So I don't want to roll it over without any oil pressure. So I'm going to stick a drill down there and prime it too, just to be safe. But you heard it roll over about 3-4 times. The electrics are, geez, almost done in this thing. So this is pretty cool, you know. It's just surreal to be getting this thing put together. Like I said, I got one wire to run, and the electrics will be completely done. I got one hose to make, and the fuel plumbing will be completely done. You know, if you're looking at it, it's somewhere around 70 days for Stafford-ish. I'm not sure exactly what the count is now, but there's that. But at the end of March, the icebreaker is at Thompson, and that should be like March 30th. That's where this car will be legal. And if somebody wants to buy it and go racing, I will make it race ready. All you have to do is put some belts and a window net in it and go racing. So we're literally 2 weeks away from this thing being race ready. I mean, we're making some serious progress, but I think that probably is going to be enough for today, and I'll show you why. Probably second soldier down. It ain't easy heating a garage with no insulation in it, but I was thinking about getting spray foam insulation, and then I'm like, that might be flammable, so I'm going to look deeper into what kind of insulation to use. Like I said, we got stuff coming. We got parts on the way, and we still have plenty to do, but for today, I think that's it. Tomorrow, I got more stuff coming. I'm not even sure if I'll be out here, but, you know, these videos are getting longer and longer, but when we're making a lot of progress, you're going to see a lot of video. So hope you guys don't mind the length of them, but we're really mowing through this thing, and I couldn't be happier. We got to have this thing back on the racetrack ASAP, and we're getting there. We really are. So stick with me. We're going to keep working, and next time I'm in the shop, I'll see you then. Final day of being able to work on this video, and we have parts. Some got back ordered. The fuel cell foam got back ordered. I'm still waiting on that. But we got enough here right now and I only have a few hours of work that I can do today before I gotta end the video. So we're gonna break this open and just jump right back into it because, well, if we're making progress, I don't want to stall that out. I want to just keep rolling. And let's just make sure we know what's in this box, because considering Speedway is like the Walmart of racing, we're just gonna double check and make sure. What do we got here? Air filter, yep, definitely need that. I don't have an air cleaner lid though for some reason. I don't know why I don't. All right, here's the biggest key to the front of the engine, my harmonic dampener, which is literally the same one as the one that used to be on the car, and I don't know where to put it. Just anywhere, please. All right, what are you? U-joint. No. Definitely not. Oh, here it is. Okay, U-joint. Chevy to Ford. Good, that's the drive shaft figured out. We got these plugs because we got this water neck, because all of my radiators apparently have they're capped off because the engines are up too high. So I got one of these, and you can figure out where to go with it. It's got a topper for it, and I'm pretty sure there should be one more. Yeah, radiator cap. All right, that'll do. And the receipt, so I can delete the email. Good. Just make sure. Yep. And back ordered. Cool. All right. Let's get to work on whatever we got here, because that will be plenty for us to do for the end of the video. I got the race on in the background, so please ignore the background noise. That was a bit of a faff, but that's okay. We got her all set back in here. I saw this. I needed to reseal that. I put this neck on here. Seemed to be pretty good. I just used gaskets. I didn't use the goop. I did use the goop for here, though, because, well, I didn't have any gaskets for that. These seem to be lining up pretty good. I'm glad I redid, or at least pre-did all of that. I'm looking at this side here and I'm like, yep, they all line up pretty darn good. The back pulley on the crank, the way down one, lines up with here, which lines up with here. And I have more spacers that I'm hanging on to. These are a lot longer. These bolts over here are a lot longer as well. I got other spacers here and here and here. Nope, I already used that one. But I got all these in case I need to move the alternator out. And where I want that to kind of land is, I want it to be up with this pulley here because that meets that lower pulley there. So hopefully I got enough spacer to do that. I'm sure I got enough bolt to do that, but we're still waiting on that to show up. Once that shows up, we can get belts figured out. And hopefully, fingers crossed, because I've never had good luck with V-belt stuff. But this looks like it lines up really good. And I'm just going to go with it. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, well, then it's all my fault. So, all right. Front drive is coming together really, really well. Now we got to work on something else. Okay guys, I have this nagging doubt that I've been kind of playing with right now. So in the corner of your screen, right there, okay, is my oil pressure gauge. Now what I want you to do is, I want you to take a look at that and let me know if that thing moves. And you know what I'm gonna do also? Oh, you know what I didn't check? I didn't check to see if some of these wires were not hanging on something. All right, that's clear. That one I actually put a rubber boot over. I'll even turn the light on to see if that works too. Oh, that's not bolted down. Okay, I will see if the light goes out. You will see if we build pressure. I got my primer tool in here. And do I have her on high or low? Whatever, it's a Milwaukee, who cares? Oh, she's not on drill mode, is she? Let's go to high torque mode. I bet you the light doesn't turn off. Did it move? Huh. Oh, it does work. Look at that. Gotta exercise the old gauge, I guess, but... Alright, how many leaks do we have? A little bit of one on the back of the gauge, so I might have to tighten that guy up. But it's just a little weep. So, alright, I'm going to tighten that up. I don't see any other leaks, though. No, we're pretty clear and dry here. And here. Yeah, it's just a hair little weepy, and I think we can probably remedy that with a little bit of with a wrench. So, hey, cool, that actually worked, and we do have oil in it. Cool. Oh, that took a while, though. That was kind of scary. Okay, apparently I didn't even have it tight at all. It was just finger tight. So that's good to know. At least it didn't come firing out and spraying all over the place. But I'm currently working on the distributor. I'll leave that in there so nothing else falls into the engine. Disregard that I said that. I got my old backup one here. And she's a decent little unit. I think this is the original one that came in my crate motor. And the pickup died in it once, which is just fantastic. So I bought another one from Rock Auto. I think it was actually a GM one. I got this spare cap here. Actually, no, this is the cap off of it. You can see a terminal's broken off of it. Another one's bent. I must have dropped this thing. Another one's bent. That's okay. I got another cap. I actually got like 2 other caps. I got this one here. It says shuts off bad in all caps. That's bad. I got this one here. Bad coil. Well, it's a DUI, so of course it's bad. I've blown more of those than any other distributor known to mankind, but the cap itself looks brand new. So I think I'll take that out, swap the coil from this to here, put this distributor together, and drop it in the hole. Also, I just realized I don't have a hold down for this distributor. Remember we had that problem with the other motor? I didn't know if I had one. Well, apparently I don't have one for this motor, so I might have to go and rob one off of a spare motor or some old truck motor from my brother's house or something, see if he's got one, or I'm going to be ordering another part. Okay, guys, I have now officially run out of time for this video, but man, just look at how much we got done. You know, this thing just, I don't even remember what we were missing at the beginning of the video. We've done so much that, I mean, we're at the point where if I had a distributor in the car, I'd see if it ran. The electrics work to do that. The fuel system almost works. We got to get that one piece built. I've told you how many times I've the same thing of what we need to do next, so you already know. There's a lot left to do, but it's just so close, you know. It rolls, it's got all the controls in order to drive. It's just missing little things here and there. We are so close to getting this thing ready. Within the next 2 episodes, I'd really like to be done with this thing. I'm certain we'll have this thing running by the next episode, and I really would like to get started on the body. If we don't, we'll be starting on the body the next episode. Hopefully we'll get that thing on and done, because I need this car finished and out of here. So, that being said, I appreciate every single one of you guys for watching and going along on this journey with me. It's been very fulfilling to not let this car sit and rot in my backyard, to let this thing live again someday, probably with somebody else. But you know what? I feel like I owe it to this car for the years of enjoyment and the amazing experiences that I had in life because of it. And, you know, it is a sentimental thing. I do have a lot of value in this car sentimentally, and, well, I'm just kind of at the point where I'm willing to give it to somebody else and let them have those experiences that I did, and the enjoyment and the stress and, you know, all the things that go along with racing. So I feel like I owe it, and that's what we're doing this for. We're trying to get her back racing again, even if it's for somebody else. But tell your friends, tell your family, share me on social media, please. Again, I know I ask a lot because it's, you know, people's time is very precious, but, you know, if you could take a few minutes to just like and share and put me up and help me out. I just want to get Google to pay me for my intellectual property, and that would be fantastic, and maybe send a couple funds my way. So anyway, thank you all again. I appreciate it. Hopefully we'll be running next time.